most awesome day of the week, and in this Friday edition of CNN Student News, we're going to be talking about some milestones being recognized around the world. I'm Carl Azuz. Let's go. First up, former President Bill Clinton is recovering from a medical procedure. He was checked into the hospital yesterday after feeling some chest pains. Doctors worked on one of his arteries, and sources who are close to former President Clinton say he's doing fine. Next today, we're heading to Iran and the 31st anniversary of that country's Islamic Revolution. It was when supporters of a religious leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, took over the government. Now, normally you probably think of anniversaries as positive things, but this one comes with some controversy. In fact, the U.S. and other countries are concerned about the potential for violence during this anniversary, and here's why. In videos like this one, which was posted on YouTube, you can see large crowds of protesters who are speaking out against Iran's government. But you also see the police moving into the crowd. And according to anti-government or opposition sources, scenes like this turn violent with security forces attacking the protesters. Now, what's difficult in reporting a story like this is that the information is coming from those opposition sources and being posted on the internet. It can be hard for CNN to independently confirm what's being said and shown. And Iran's government denies any accusations about abusing protesters. There was a pro-government rally yesterday, too. Huge crowd of supporters came out to hear Iran's president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, speak. He talked about the country's controversial nuclear program and criticized the United States. There were no reports of any disturbances during that speech.
See if you can ID me. A South African by birth, I helped lead protests against apartheid, a practice of separating people by race. I spent 27 years as a political prisoner. After being released from jail, I was elected president of South Africa. I'm Nelson Mandela, and I was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993.
South Africa is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Nelson Mandela's release from jail. It just happened to be on the same day that the country's parliament started up its new session. These ceremonies outside the parliament building helped kick off the day's events. Once things moved inside, South African lawmakers paid tribute to a man who's been called the world's most famous political prisoner. During the ceremony, the country's current president, Jacob Zuma, said that South Africa should pursue the goal that Mandela spent his life fighting for, a free society in which all persons live together in harmony. Zuma also said the country should commit itself to building a better future for all South Africans, black and white. And the final anniversary we have to tell you about today, happy birthday to the Boy Scouts of America. The organization's turning 100 years old this week. 25 years after it was founded, the Boy Scouts had more than 1 million members. Now, the organization includes nearly 3 million people. One of the leaders of the Boy Scouts said recently that while the group's methods are changing, its goal has always been the same, to help young people grow into responsible adults. And the Scouts have some pretty impressive alumni. It includes hundreds of members of Congress and more than half of the astronauts in the U.S. space program.
Today's shout out goes out to Mrs. Benton's 7th and 8th grade students in Island Pond, Vermont. Vancouver is located in what Canadian province? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it Quebec, Alberta, Saskatchewan, or British Columbia? You've got 3 seconds. Go. You'll find Vancouver and British Columbia on the western side of Canada. That's your answer, and that's your shout out.
Vancouver is about to go through some population growth, at least for a couple weeks. That is because the city is hosting the 21st Winter Olympics, and those officially get started tonight. It includes 5,500 athletes from around the world, but here's what we mean by population growth. Hundreds of thousands of tourists are going to be there. This is just a massive event. It's one that's going to have a lot of security. But one official says he hopes that is not what most people remember.
I want them to remember the sport, the culture, the celebration of the Olympics, the gold medals, the beauty of British Columbia and Canada. I don't really want them to remember security. I think security has to be there. There will be security there. It'll be smart security. It'll be friendly security.
Moving on and up to the International Space Station. That is where the Space Shuttle Endeavour is right now. And for the shuttle's crew, the 5th day of their 2-week mission is going to be focused on one of 3 planned spacewalks. This one, the first one, is about installing a new module on the ISS. Spacewalkers have to get it ready to be removed from the shuttle's cargo bay, and then 2 other astronauts will work to install the thing by using the space station's robotic arm. Bernard Harris, whom you are seeing right here, knows a thing or two about spacewalks. He's a former NASA astronaut, and when he stepped outside the shuttle, he became the first African American ever to walk in space. But Harris says becoming a trailblazer wasn't his main goal.
When I dreamed 40 years ago that I would follow in the footsteps of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin by becoming an astronaut, I did not set out to become the first African American to walk in space. That just happened. But what a wonderful event.
As you watch this, Congress is trying to figure out ways to reduce the nation's 9.7% unemployment rate. But there are other organizations out there helping folks find work. And one of those organizations zooms in on people considered hard to employ. They might have prison records, they might not have a high school diploma. Poppy Harlow tells us who's striving to help them.
On East 123rd Street in Harlem, there is hope.
What was the first pillar? Second?
Skills.
Third?
So it's never too late. You're in the right place, you're in a good school, good staff. Take advantage of it, man. Take advantage of it. Prime example.
Derek Windsor took advantage of it and turned his life around. He's one of more than 40,000 people who have benefited from Strive, an organization dedicated to helping hard-to-employ people find careers, despite a troubled past.
I always tell people that we get brilliant right after we get arrested.
Rob Carmona would know. His wake-up call came after years of drugs and run-ins with the law. After almost being thrown in jail, Carmona founded Strive on the principle that it's not enough just to learn skills. You have to learn how to act if you want to find a job and keep it. So all Strive students go through a month-long course focused solely on their behavior.
Time that you're motivated because it didn't happen by accident.
Come from a bad neighborhood, but that don't make me a bad person.
When I was 17, I was stupid. I stole a pack of cigarettes. I put myself in this situation, you know?
Regardless of my background, that is still hope for me.
That hope is key. Derek Windsor had it when he was in jail, and he's beaten the odds since he was released last year.
It feels good. It feels, honestly, does feel good. You know, I made it. Well, I'm making it. I'm on my way. And there's nothing's going to stop me now.
Today, he's making steady money weatherizing homes and supporting his family thanks to Strive.
They taught me attitude.
Attitude?
They taught me attitude. If you don't have the right attitude, you're not going to succeed.
We'll tell people, think about the times when you got in trouble. What was going on in your life? And they'll say, almost to the man and woman, my life was in disarray when that happened. So work provides that kind of order.
And having that work also decreases the ultimate cost to society.
What's your family think right now?
Proud of me. I said proud. You know, proud. If she was standing, my mother standing here, she'd probably have a tear in her eye.
You've got questions, we've got answers. Go to Facebook, that's facebook.com/CNN Student News next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna have a live chat. I'll be there answering your questions. Don't miss it. Facebook.com/CNN Student News. Before we go, there's a new trend in barnyard jewelry. Oh boy. We were guessing anyone who saw this did some rubbernecking. No one's sure how the thing ended up with a tire around its neck. Maybe you could just blame it on bad fashion. Either way, it definitely looks amusing. Someone did eventually come out to help. You're going to see him here on the right side of your screen in just a moment. But he had to tread lightly since the cow didn't seem to want to give up its all-wheel accessory. The whole thing, if you ask us, is utterly ridiculous. Kind of like our puns and sound effects. We never really tire of them, although maybe we should retire today's show after a few of those. We are going to be off Monday for President's Day. We hope you enjoy the long weekend. Have a very happy Valentine's Day. We're going to look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Have a great one. Goodbye.